The most important part of any journey is always the first steps. Unless, of course, you're standing on a treadmill. Hi, I'm James, and this is my take on reality. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Bilal, Shaeeda, and the many, many steps she must take in order for her to make her dreams come true. Before we get started, I would ask that if you're not subscribed to the channel, that you consider subscribing. It helps the channel out, it helps me out, and hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So go ahead and hit that HBO special down below. I'd really appreciate it. And for those of you who are already subscribed, thank you. And go ahead and hit that thumbs up button to let me know that you're still enjoying the content and you're still getting something from it. Appreciate you. Now let's get it. Now we noticed in last week's episode that Shaeeda had finally received her work permit and permission to work in the United States so she could start earning money, which means that Shaeeda can start to formulate her plan to be able to build and create her dream yoga studio. Now, when she approached Bilal with this great news, she came in, she was super excited about it. She told Bilal, hey, Bilal, guess what? I got something to show you. She comes in, hands him the envelope, got my card. Now we can start looking for businesses. We can start looking for places for me to open up my studio. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. And here comes Ice Bucket Bilal, throwing cold water on her hopes and dreams once again, in order for him to be able to make room for his ability to be able to cut her off and stop her from doing the thing that she wants to do most. Now, I think that there's a running theme in how Bilal interacts with Shaeeda, where he's always the one who's telling her she can't do something. Now, when it comes to the kids and his ability to have children with her, that's something that's completely at his discretion. And I think that if he doesn't want to have children, he shouldn't have children. I think that that's a mistake. I think that Shaeeda is also making a mistake if she thinks that because he's a good parent to the children that he has with his ex-wife, Shaeeda, and she thinks that by him being a good parent there, that he's automatically going to be a good parent to her children. I would say, girlfriend, you need to get out more, because there's a lot of guys who are walking around who have two sets of children, one set from a woman that he likes and one set from a woman he doesn't like. And the woman that he likes, her kids get treated like gold, and the woman he doesn't like, her kids get treated like crap. And in Shaeeda's case, I would warn her against the idea that because he's a good father to his ex-wife's kids, that he will automatically be a good father to your kids, especially being as though he doesn't want to be a father to your kids. So there's that. And when she had the opportunity to be able to go out and open up her yoga studio, which is actually included in their prenup, and she keeps throwing it around like that's some kind of contract for the marriage, there's a fundamental misunderstanding as to what the powers of the prenup actually are. And I think that's part of the reason why the prenup's going to get thrown out. She says that because it's in the prenup, there are things that he has to do. He has to give her a baby, one, which we already talked about, and two, he has to help her formulate a business and create a yoga studio. Now, the problem with that is that if he fundamentally doesn't want to have children, you can make the argument that he shouldn't be forced to have children with somebody he doesn't want to have children with. And that would be very difficult for a prenup to be enforced in the event that their relationship dissolves. However, a business and formulation of a business and creating a business model, that's completely enforceable. For him to say that in order for us to move forward, certain things have to happen. We have to follow certain steps and we have to do all these things. I get him saying that in order for the business to work and for us to actually go out and start preparing to put down money on a place for you to be able to have a yoga studio, we have to do additional work. I get that and I agree with that. However, my question is this: why didn't you raise those points while she was sitting around the house before she had received her green card? Now, he's going to say that she doesn't understand business, and because she doesn't understand business, there's a lot of things that she has to learn, and there's a learning curve in order for her to be successful. I would say, as a supposed successful businessman, as a man who's a man about town and a man of means and wealth, that you could have guided her and told her what she needed to do. Here's some suggestions that I would have made. In order for you to really think about where you want to put your yoga studio, one, you have to find the clientele. Where are your customers located? What kind of clientele do you want to serve? What kind of people are around? Of the people who are around, how many of them are actually interested in yoga? And if they're interested in yoga, what type of yoga are they interested in? Start visiting some of the local yoga places. You're a yogi, go to yoga places. See what they're doing. See what's successful. Go to the popular places. It's not like Bilal is strapped for cash and he can't afford it. So you just buy a membership at your competitors. competitors. You see what your competition is doing. I mean, hell, even here on YouTube, I go to other pages and see what they're doing and see what's happening and see what they're talking about. One, because some of it's interesting, and two, I just like to know what the competition's up to. And I'm sure if they're not doing it now, that as my station or my channel grows and it gets bigger, that other people will come to my channel for the same purpose. It is what it is. It's an open market space. This is what it's about. So iron sharpens iron. We can make each other better. And at some point, maybe we'll collab. Who knows? But even with a yoga studio, you can do the same thing. You can see what works in their studio, what doesn't work in their studio. You can add ideas to them, and maybe they can add ideas and suggestions to you. You can see who shows up to the yoga studio, what kind of yoga they do. Is your target market older men, or is your target market younger women? Is it older women? You got to figure all that out. And so that way you can come up with a business plan that's so important, but you have a better understanding. Two, you start to look around as far as advertising. Bilal has a clue into advertising. You don't have to remake the wheel. I've seen a few people, like I said, I check out other channels. I've seen a few people say that Shaeeda should have went out and started making phone calls and tracking things down herself. Bilal does this. You think when he sells houses, he doesn't have publishing and he doesn't know where to post things or advertise things or how to advertise, how to make cards, how to create business cards? You don't think he knows how to do these things? He could hook her up. In fact, if he does it independently as a contractor and for himself, working for a company, I'm not sure how his business is structured. If he does it independently for himself, he may very well have his own account that he can add her on and create a bundle for her to be able to get the products that she needs in order for her to advertise for her company. And the best way to do it, the best marketing strategies for her to do that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's also part of him helping her to establish a business here. He's going to not only financially bankroll the business, but ideally, and this is the stupid part about it, ideally, as a husband who is well-heeled and has money, you want to make sure that your wife has access to funds outside of your funds. So in other words, if you are, let's say Bilal is a millionaire, right? You want your wife to be a millionaire with her business. You want her to own $1 million business. Why? Because if it ever comes down to it and they have to decide whether they're going to dissolve and separate assets and they're going to start dividing stuff, and they say that, hey, look, right now, their complete assets is $4 million. Bilal has $2 million. Shaeeda has $2 million. Then Shaeeda doesn't get alimony. Shaeeda doesn't get to go into Bilal's money and start raking around in his bank accounts because they're evenly set. And it would be completely fair for them to say, okay, Bilal, you take your stuff. Shaeeda, you take your stuff, and you guys have a great day. But if Bilal sabotages Shaeeda and she can't open a business and she doesn't get things started and she's not successful, then if their relationship falls apart, no court in the world is going to look at Shaeeda and say, oh, well, he did the best he could. You didn't do your research. We're going to send you out here broke. Dude, Bilal, why don't you hook up and give a plane ticket back to Trinidad? That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is they're going to rip that prenup up and then they're going to start digging his money out. So it behooves him and it's to his best interest to make sure that she has the things that she needs. And again, focusing on the steps. It just seems like every time she turns around and every time she gets excited about something, Bilal is right there saying that, yeah, you know how you were about to hit that goalpost? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and move that goalpost another 100 meters. So you thought you were done. You thought you finished the race. You thought you won. But no. You're going to have to keep running. And that's how Bilal has been approaching this entire thing with Shaeeda. And that's what makes it so disingenuous and so hurtful, is that there is a point where Bilal could be looked at as being sensible and reasonable and rational and logical, but at the same time, there's many aspects of what he does and the way he goes about it that makes his actions extremely cruel. This is another call for Shaeeda to wake up. I'm James. This has been my take on reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side, PCA.